Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I wanted to say we've got a special IG Live lined up, and my guest will be coming on in just a second. Hope everyone's having a great day. Hope their Monday has not been a rough one, as Mondays have a tendency to do so. My name is Brad. I am a life coach. I help people that are deconstructing their faith, religion, wherever they may be on the journey. And so I am one of those life coaches that wants to walk beside you and help you in every facet so you can accomplish your goals as you walk through this incredibly difficult challenge. I want to make sure you don't feel alone as well. I enjoy being a life coach. It is something that brings me great joy, especially after my last endeavor for the last 40-some. So, that being the case, my guest today, it comes from a totally different lifestyle than mine, which is great. She's incredibly successful, and she will be here to introduce herself. Let me just say a quick word that we keep everything polite, courteous, that we don't say anything that would be negative to myself or my guest, and that we are a people that are incredibly kind to one another. There's enough negativity in this world, enough people putting other people down for what they do and how they do it, that we don't need any more here. And so with that being said, I would let me check on my guest to see if she is hopping on or where she might be. I want to make sure she's okay. Let me go to the right page here. If you have any questions or anything you want to ask me, feel free to do so. I am more than happy to answer any questions you may have. So, I see her now. I'm going to wave. She's here, and then we'll get started. So, let's see. It hasn't connected us yet. I assume it will soon. And I'm looking forward to it. There we go. View request. To be on here any moment. And then we'll get rolling. So thank you for being here again. Hey!
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I am well. It's so good to see you.
Oh my gosh, nice to see you too. This is exciting.
Yes, it is. I've been waiting for this a long time, just so you know.
The same, yes. We've been needing to connect this way for a while.
Yes, I love it. I love it. It is so good to see you. So you are on the West Coast, correct?
Yes, I'm on the West Coast. It's 1 o'clock my time, and today it's bright and sunny. I don't know what it's like for you, but
Sunny.
yeah, in Michigan, it was snowing the past few days, and I'm like, oh, sorry guys.
It is cold here, but you are warm, are you not? Is it warm there?
Yeah, it's like mid 70s. It's
Okay.
cozy. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Well, I went ahead and introduced myself. I'll give a very brief recap here for those that are hopping back on, so they don't have to watch all the way back to the beginning. My name is Brad. I'm a life coach. I help people that are deconstructing through religion, as well as other items or instances in their life. I had been a pastor for 20 plus years until I saw the light and left. And that's another story when it comes down to it. So I now help people that are deconstructing in all facets of their deconstructing journey with no pretense or deciding, hey, you need to end up a certain way, but wanting you to be true to yourself. And
Yes.
that is I do life coaching. That's what I do. So how about you, my friend? Introduce.
Hi, everyone. First of all, I'm realizing that my tongue is blue. I just had an airhead. Sorry, guys. But my name is Fatima Kojima, or Fatima, whichever way you can pronounce it easier for you. I am a model, primarily a body expressive model, as well as an intimacy and self-love coach. I help people remove their blockages in their life and their sex life so that they can thrive with abundance and pleasure.
Yeah, and you do it so well. I mean, and I love the joy that you bring to people. It's so positive. So let me ask you a couple questions, if that's okay.
Yes, dive right in. Let's get
All
juicy.
right, let's get right after. First of all, how did you get into your career of modeling and coaching?
Okay, so with modeling, it was a transition out of figure skating for me. I was a figure skater from age 3 until just shy of 17. And I discovered modeling through figure skating. We'd have picture days for our ice shows. And upon one of those picture days, I discovered I really like this whole vibe here. And I almost was like, I want to just keep taking pictures and not get on the ice, because how it works is we'd have like our costume on and our skates, and we'd go and take a picture, and then we'd jump right back on the ice. And I just wanted to keep taking pictures. And so after the picture was taken, they're like, okay, you can go. I'm like, why? This is different. So
Right.
started my interest in modeling. And then when I was about 17, almost 18, I got more heavily into it and just it's been a long time with modeling now. And with my coaching journey, I was kind of in like a self-sabotaging place with really stepping into it for the longest. I tried every other avenue of the coaching than what I'm doing right now. I started with personal training, and I'm like, that's not it, but I know it's in the coaching field. I went to life coaching, but I'm like, no, it's a little more juicy for me. Where am I? Where do I need to be? And then through my own self-pleasure and self-love journey, I got my niche, intimacy and self-love. Mm-hmm.
And it is a amazing niche. And one you've really embraced and stepped into. Have you got a lot of, I mean, obviously you have to have a lot of positive reactions from what you're doing.
Surprisingly, you know, it's weird when you fully step into like what you're supposed to be offering in your lifetime, you start to receive the more positive abundance in return. Whereas when I was kind of like sifting through the waters, I was getting more negativity. And now it's like I'm getting more of that abundant love. And I'm sure maybe you can agree for yourself also.
Yeah, it takes a little while. I know Pursue Your Wild has hopped on, going through the same position here, doing good work. I know her, that's Claire. And so
Yeah, we
she
just
started,
follow each other. I think she's incredible.
yeah, that's awesome. So what is the message that you are wanting to send out into the world with your modeling and coaching?
The message that I want to send out into the world. I would say mainly that I want people to enjoy and embody and experience their bodies and their sexuality, but to do it in the most sacred ways, to tie it to your spirituality, to not have it be a separate thing, which we often grow up doing.
Hmm.
So really wanting to just realize that there's nothing wrong with experiencing pleasure and adorning the body and adorning others' bodies, but doing it sacredly. And that can be tailored to each individual. You know, it's not a set way collectively, but really just being mindful about the whole thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. I just want to remind everybody that if there are any connection issues or anything, just let us know. Mankello replied, "Hello, Fatima. I follow you on social media. Thank you for always being so open, kind, and supportive with me." So, and that you are, definitely. So let me ask you another question. Did you ever have any body issues yourself? I mean, is there anything you had to work through?
Actually, yeah. And people are usually surprised that I say that, but during around my like preteen years, I had this phase where I did not like to show my back or my arms. I always wore long sleeves, primarily because I suffer from back knee or suffered from back knee. I didn't really get facial acne until my adulthood. So I had like a clean face all through high school, but I was getting back knee. So I didn't want people to see that.
Mhm.
So that was a body issue that I had to sort through. And then once that went away, I had scars, which I still have scars. And I have something called tinea versicolor. It's where you kind of get like a skin discoloration on your back.
Mhm.
So it's like permanent for me unless I go get a bunch of treatments. So that can be a little bit tough for me. That's why you might not always see me posing with my back. But I try to more just to challenge myself. Like it's natural. It's fine.
Yeah.
Other part, which is a little more TMI, my vulva is not what I saw growing up. We'll just say in pornography. I saw perfect labias and vaginas, and mine is different compared to what I saw in porn. And so I judged it. I didn't like it. I felt shame about it. And then I
Hmm.
had to work through that, and now we're good.
Okay, good. Oh man. So tell me a little bit about, if you wouldn't mind, uh, what is your coaching style? Like if someone's interested in saying, hey, I need to become more comfortable in my own skin.
Yeah.
Um, how does that work? How do you tackle that?
So I usually start with kind of like inquiring and going deeper. What was your childhood like?
Mhm.
What was trauma and the blockage from? Because I want to eliminate that, because usually it's a perspective outside of yourself, just like me. I was judging my body based on what the media was projecting to me, and that made me feel like I wasn't as good as. So often, maybe your family, friends, maybe a sibling, a partner, your first boyfriend or girlfriend. And that's where we have to go to that. And then it's like, ding, oh, it wasn't me. It was this other entity. And so once you get that out of you, then it's going into yourself with body practices like, am I losing you?
I'm here.
Sorry, it was like glitchy. um, Body practices like self-love in the mirror practices, fire burning ceremonies, even self-hug and crying sessions, really just soul connecting practices, but with the layers off, meaning with the clothes off. Yeah.
Okay. Do you deal with a lot of people that have had purity culture issues?
That have had
Purity culture issues?
I've had a couple of people come to me saying that primarily, it was religious based, um, as to why they couldn't go into their pleasure. Definitely, yeah. More so, I've noticed with men centered around their masturbation, which I actually have found interesting because I didn't think that many men felt shame about masturbating. I just kind of statistically thought it was more so us women, but I'm kind of seeing like an equal level that even men, when they were younger, they felt shame to masturbate.
Well, I can only say that coming from the religious background, that was something that was talked about a lot
Mm-hmm.
as negative, as sinful, as something not to do.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, and yeah, I guess I reflect even because I went to a private Christian school all through my school years. Yeah, I can reflect that even for the boys, they felt uncomfortable talking about their sexuality, or any conversations about masturbation was like really, really hush hush taboo. And yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate because we grow up into adults and we hold on to those same principles of shame and guilt.
Yeah, I didn't discover what it was until 10th grade. Uh,
Mm,
I mean, literally, there was no education on any of that. It was just forbidden to discover or learn about. So, back in my day, it wasn't necessarily purity culture; it was fear culture. Um,
mm,
that's really what you could have called it. It's like if you do this, you're going to hell, or
right.
this is you're going to have impure thoughts and Jesus is going to be upset with you. And there's that whole thing of, hey, God is watching you. You know, I mean, it's just like,
Mhm.
it's like, whoa, okay. That's a
Yeah.
little,
Uh-oh, you went out on me again. But yeah, absolutely. And I question that more and more now because I have conversations with religious people sometimes and I say, well, really, where in the Bible can you show me, that it is a sin? God is pretty straightforward in regards to what the Bible says about sin, even down to gambling, things like that. So it's like, if something was really a huge, like, no, I don't want you to do it, I really feel like it would have been specified. Now, I do feel like in regards to masturbation, that certain elements can tap into a layer of sin or lust if you're having like impure thoughts about treatment to a woman or another person and you're masturbating while doing that. Yeah, then you're stepping into the layers that is not good. But in itself, I just question so much, like, why are we being taught that it's just such a demonic thing when I truly in my core believe it's not.
the demonic word came out.
Yes.
Mm. Okay,
Yeah.
so let me ask you another question. How did you become comfortable in your own skin?
Mm. I think, sorry if you can hear that, by the way, there's somebody blowing leaves. I think for me, I kind of just grew up into it. In figure skating, we wore a lot of outfits that were not provocative, hearsay, but revealing, like mesh cutouts that would kind of like simulate your skin tone. And so I grew up seeing my body and being comfortable with it, beyond those little areas, like I mentioned. And also, I was in environments where I felt safe with boys. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say these things, but for example, in the locker rooms, we'd have the boys walking in, the girls walking in, changing clothes, and there'd be no like, I'm concerned that something dangerous is going to happen with one of these boys. It was such a free spirited, loving environment. So I had a different upbringing with all of that. I started to have more fear once I got into modeling. Then I saw, oh, I need to be more cautious with how easily I am, carefree with my body expressively, not intimately, but expressively.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So what is it? I mean, I've heard, everybody's heard different things with the modeling agencies.
Hmm.
Um, and you mentioned having fear in there. Is it as bad or that much of a struggle, I should say, is what we on the outside hear?
Um, I mean, I think, well, there's two different, like, I'll say versions. So I do a lot more freelance modeling these days. For a while, I did do a lot of agency work. And I feel like I have a little bit more power because I'm kind of like my own boss, my own agent, versus when you're working for an agency, you want to be on your P's and Q's, kind of like no matter what's happening, so to not ruin the agency's reputation. So that's why it's so unfortunate. A lot of girls and boys, they get into situations and they stay quiet about it because they don't want to tarnish the brand's image or their agency's image while they are now a victim and suffering from something. For me, it's more so, I guess, dangerous for me just because I'm selecting these photographers on my own. So if I happen to get with an ill-minded human, that can be a scary situation for me. But and also, like, for example, I used to just, if I had a nude shoot, I would just walk around nude the whole shoot. But I realized that might be keeping like an enticing energy in the room. So after we do like a set, I'll put my robe on, or I'll put something on to cover myself again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would What advice would you give to other men and women that are going into modeling?
I would say definitely know your niche that you want to pursue. And I always say, think about your future self. Um, if you are are doing something right now just because it maybe is paying the bills, or you're getting a good amount of money from it, or even notoriety from it. Like, just being honest, generally girls on Instagram that are wearing lingerie versus fully clothed, the girl in lingerie gets more notoriety. So you might feed off of that, and later on in life you'll regret that. So I always have to check in with myself. You know, I want to be a mother one day. So I think, is what I'm doing going to be okay when I become a parent, blah, blah, blah. And I'm okay with it. I'm like, you know what, kid, we're going to roll with it. Whatever comes at us, it's going to be fine. Because this is me. But yeah, checking in with your future self.
That's great advice. I love that. I love that. So in your coaching, you have a you're not just about the physical, you're also about the spiritual or sacred. Define the sacred to us. What do you mean by sacred?
One, the sacred being yourself, your own body and your own temple. And the omnipotent, you know, the highest power, whomever you refer to God as. I often say source. I feel God is like my source. My energy is sourced. So I say to my source, or my higher power. And really understanding that there is a connection between your higher power and your sacred self. And it shouldn't be separate. Oftentimes, like, for example, sometimes I will go into a nude body dance with self, and I'm feeling like I'm connecting to source in that moment. I don't really feel like it's sexually an arousing experience. So, and also just like knowing that your body is this temple, but it's also yours to own power over. So for one person, it may be, honestly, it may be fully covering, but I still would hope that you can embrace and love your body underneath that. For another person, it might be being more open, like me, but I still have many boundaries that I will not cross. Like, sorry to drag it on, but for example, people probably look at me and think I'm a very sexually promiscuous woman, but I'm not. I just am very visually open, but I don't go into full, it's like, that's a totally different layer and element for me. So yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I love that there is a distinction with that, because I know a lot of men who would see you would say, okay, yeah, she's sexually very much,
Yeah.
you know, active like that. But that's unfortunately stereotypical judgment.
Yeah, and that's why I run into sometimes a hard time with my coaching, because people often come across me from my modeling, and so they sometimes try to go through like a backhanded way to get to me through my coaching, like, oh, I need support with this and this, but really I'm just trying to pursue you, you know? And so I've had to tailor guidelines around my coaching now, because I'm realizing that not everybody is coming to me with genuine intentions. So like now I don't even meet with male clients in person. They're all virtual or phone call, unless like true trust has been established.
Sure. Yeah. I never have to worry about that. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is you have this way of helping men and women create a more embodiment experience of self-care, routine practices, right? How can men, like, I'm not asking you to give away everything you do in your life coaching, but how can men start to think in that direction?
So, oh, yay, I like this. So this goes into, for men, understanding that you are your own temple and your own powerful vessel also. I think men don't feel connected to their bodies innately the same way women do. Even if a woman is having blockages and struggling, oftentimes I feel that you know, we might be a little bit more in tune or intuitive with our bodies. One, because we have cycles, so we're understanding our hormones a little more and all of those things. Whereas men, they don't, not all, but they don't, really connect and understand their bodies. So going through self-care and self-love practices and routines, and that can be things like, for men, I I want to see men dance more. That's something that I really would love to see, men moving their hips, because you guys hold a lot of tension in your hips. So do women, but a lot of tension is held in your hips. So when you guys start moving, go to a salsa class. I was so happy. I went to a Zumba class and there were 3 gentlemen in the class, and I was like, yes, they're here with us. Let's do this. So things like that can really help for you to start to connect more to your body innately as a man, because you're opening yourself up more. And self-love practices, creating a routine. I think that sometimes, men will jazz themselves up to surfacely look appealing or attractive, maybe for their partner or if they're courting somebody, but to really just want to be that for yourself every day. I want to smell good for myself. I want to look good for myself, and more so for my health, and all of those things. So yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I have been known to dance. The hips do not move very smoothly.
That's okay. They will start to get in alignment.
Now I get looked at as like, don't hurt yourself, Oh, so let me ask you this as well. How do you honor your own masculine energy while tapping into sacred sexuality and practice?
Okay, let me think on that. How do I honor my masculinity while tapping into my own sacred sexuality practices? For me, I tend to be like an alpha female in my day-to-day life, so I have a lot of masculinity, which, again, people that look at me wouldn't think that. They think, oh,
Right.
I'm very submissive and gentle, and I am, but I'm very go-getter. I've got goals I want to achieve, so I have a very masculine focus. And so when I have time to go into my sacred sexuality practices, I can tap into my feminine and reconnect and remind myself, I am this inner goddess, and I am this being. I don't have to be a warrior in the world, and this is a really side thought out of nowhere, but you know how sometimes you'll hear men say to women walking by, smile, honey. A lot of times women, I guess, don't smile when they're out in public, and I'll at least sometimes have gentlemen say, oh, smile. I think it's because a lot of us women, we're having to hold this masculine focus and energy in our day, so we're not thinking to tap into our feminine innate happiness and inner joy, because in the world we have to get things done. So I've actually put more intention into walking around with a smile more. When I'm on a walk with my dog, I try to smile more, and that is a form of, in my opinion, sacred sexuality practice. I'm letting my inner joy come up and come out of me, and not just being in the masculine all the time.
Well, anybody that follows your page, see it's very clear cut where you're going and what you're going to accomplish, right? So I love that you're very upfront with how you deal with either female clients or male clients or whatever have you. So that's great. You had a thought, and you expressed this through email to me. One of those things you'd like to talk about is how to ethically consume porn. And I know that's a heartbeat of yours.
Yeah.
So would you mind sharing that with us?
Yeah. So ethically consuming porn. And I believe in quotation marks, because in my opinion, mainstream porn, and I'm not trying to just solicit my OnlyFans and OnlyFans girls like me, but in my opinion, mainstream porn is not able to be ethically consumed because a lot of times it's not ethically created or made. So that's how you can ethically consume something if it is made out of pure willingness, freeness, openness. For example, a lot of times porn stars, they're on set for a long time. They may be asked or told to do things that they really don't want to do. Maybe they want to take out a part that happened, but they're not allowed to. Me as a body expressive woman at my OnlyFans spaces, I'm able to, if I'm not feeling like being on here today, I don't have to be. I'm not obligated by a contract to show up and do this job with my body. And also I'm safe, you know, ethically knowing that the people in the video are safe and that they consented to it. You're watching somebody that is in full bliss, full enjoyment when you just come to a place like mine or other women that I know on OnlyFans. So that's ethical consumption. And then also I think what is taking place, you know, is the woman being mistreated or is the man being mistreated, etc. And that's how you know that you are watching something that is genuine. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. I mean, you hear the nightmares that come out of the porn, you know, industry and the way in which women and men are treated. So, but you're right. You are your own boss.
Yeah. And you know that like your patronage is going to that person's livelihood. You know, right. It's going to that agency or that website, so to speak. It's going primarily to me. OnlyFans takes a percentage, but it's primarily going to me. So that's how you can feel honoring, like I'm supporting this human.
Right. No, I think that's incredibly valid. I think that's great. Okay. So, what do we have to look forward to with you in the future and what you're doing?
First of all, I'm seeing people that I love joining in. Hello to you all. And what to look forward to with me? Just more expansiveness. I tend to always throw out a little wild card here and there. You never really know what's going to come from me next. I have a coaching program that I was supposed to put up last year. I am going to put it up. So I have a coaching program coming out and hoping to just keep collaborating with more incredible humans like yourself. So grateful that we have this time together. And hopefully doing some traveling. So
awesome.
Doing some work in other places when I can.
Where do you want to go? When you mean traveling, where would you like to go shoot?
So the number one place that I want to go is to Japan. I'm part Japanese, so I'd love to finally meet more of my family in Japan. And I don't know if there's a way to bring more of my work to the Japanese culture. I feel like the Japanese culture is so beautiful. And when it comes to the sexual side of the Japanese culture, it's very, I mean, we'll just put it this way. There's a lot of pornography in Japanese culture and sourced from Japanese culture, but I want to maybe bring more of that sacred sexuality focus.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll see if that can happen somehow.
That would be great. Just on a personal note, my son is always trying to figure a way to go live in Japan for a while. He loves Japan, so that is awesome. I will say this: you have influenced me in how do I put this? You are incredibly kind, sensitive, and personal. You know, I mean. You are not. I don't believe that you're in this for the money. I never get that feel that you are anything you post, anything your videos. You're not in it for the money. You are literally trying to help people. And so, if anybody's watching this that has not checked out her site, has not gone to her OnlyFans, has not conversed with her, you are sorely missing out because she is dynamite and loving. And if you're looking for a safe place to really kind of explore your sexuality, she's on it. Okay. I mean, she will make that happen. And so, I just appreciate you, and what you're doing and the healing that you're bringing to people.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you to you also, because I literally prayed to Source for souls like you to come into my life. So to hear such thoughts from you, it just reassures me that there is a Source, and that Source, he's not judgmental to the degree we think he is, and it's all good. So thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you for being here. Do you have anything you would like to add as we conclude?
I would just like to maybe ask, because the work that you're doing, what opinion do you have for somebody who, because I guess we never really went into for you, like, I'm somebody that left the church. I don't identify with any religious community anymore. I was Christian for a period of my childhood, and then I converted to Islam, and then I left the religion. I even studied with Jehovah's Witnesses for the past 3 years, but never converted in. And then I got to this place almost more recently, where I'm like, I'm done. I can't do religious affiliations, but
Yeah.
I'm still spiritual. I'm not detached from spirituality with God. I just can't do my journey with God with a community of religious people. So I guess my question is, what is your, if we can go into it really quickly, what's your, like, perspective with that? Did you fully, like, leave the idea of spirituality and connection to God, or did you just detach from the church also, and you're just doing it on your own accord?
I think that's a fabulous question, by the way. And that's something I had to deconstruct personally, because my whole life I've been put in a box.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that was the evangelical Christian church. So it was a Southern Baptist.
Mm.
So I was put in that box and raised in that box, and started to slowly deconstruct probably about 2005, 2006. And it really messed me up, when it came to, is there one God?
Mm.
Is he called God? Is he even he? Uh,
Mm.
I mean, all those terminologies that you have to rewrite in your brain, right? And so,
Right.
so I got to the point where, I was struggling with that, and the last straw for me was my daughter came out as bi. Uh,
Mm.
I was a pastor in church, and it was either the church or my daughter, and
Mm.
I chose my daughter. All
Of
right.
course.
But what I did is that through, and I would do it again over and over. But now I don't have the friends I had. All my education was based in theology. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
everything I built my livelihood on, I'm starting over. The, the universe, um, differently. Try to direct them any certain way. No pretenses, nothing like that. I want them to find what they're comfortable
Mm.
with, right? And so I, I don't know, um, how exactly yet to even kind of relate to, hey, I don't want to be boxed in. I don't want to be labeled, right? Because I've been labeled my whole life,
Right.
right? Um,
Right.
I have trouble with saying there is no source, there is no universe, there is no higher beings, um, because I can't say that. That would be arrogant, much like the arrogance I came from, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that would just be a different kind of arrogance. I am a little bit more cautious because I like more proof, after being fooled for so long since a kid,
Yeah.
you know. And so I'm kind of still on that journey of discovering when science doesn't match up, when there's those times when something special happens, you're just like, wow, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Um, as well as finding the uniqueness of our own bodies,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know, just embracing that, because coming from my culture, having to not look at myself in disgust or as something sinful,
Mm-hmm.
looking, go, well, this something spiritual? Is it something sacred? Is it? And just having to walk through all this. So I don't really have a perfect answer at this
Mhm.
point uh,
Mhm.
with that, but I haven't excluded like anything. You
Mhm.
know, I'm still in a state of learning and discovering.
First of all, I love that what you just said. I'm still in a state of learning and discovering, because even though our work is to serve others, you're still in a place of humbleness to where you are able to be taught, and to learn things and discover things. And I recently told myself I always want to be a student of life. I want to be able to be taught things. I don't want to be like, I know it all, this is it. So I just love that you said that, because more of us adults need to hold on to that mindset. And also, I love that I think the thing that I like the most from my, I guess, belief in where your beliefs are is that, one, we just did the deconstruction work. So we did that, and it's allowing us to think for ourselves, whether
Yeah.
that I certainly believe this, or I'm searching still and I'm learning, and etc. I just love that we broke free from literally the invisible chains that all of that culture
Yeah.
placed.
So suddenly we're empowered,
Empowered, yes.
as opposed to, what you're taught in church a lot of times is there's nothing good in you,
Right.
right? Unless this lives in you or something like that. Or you can't be happy about an accomplishment. You got to give all the glory to God, right?
Right. Yeah.
Um, but now I'm like, hey, I did that. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you know who Jordan Peterson is.
I do not, but I'm going to write that name down.
Yes, look into Jordan Peterson. This man is golden. Um, he is not like a religious person, but he's not also super scientific. And he is political, but he's like right in the middle of it all. And he always says, I hate when I'm asked, do you believe in God? And he says, I choose to say, I act as if there is a God. I choose to lead my life as if there is a God, because that means that I'm always in contention with God, that I'm always wanting to question or, challenge, get to his answers. Because a lot of times when people ask you that question, do you believe in God? It's not really for the other person's benefit. It's how can I judge them now? If they answer yes, okay, I view them this way. If they answer no, okay, I view them that way. So I loved how he said that, because it's about acting as if there is a God. Like when you think that way, you lead differently than, oh, I believe in God, so that's enough. Like there are people that say I believe in God and they're not doing anything godly throughout their life and lifestyle. So definitely check him out. He's
He,
incredible.
he's right about that because you're right. The reason why people ask what you believe in or who you believe in or whatever have it is so they can put you in a box in their
Yeah,
mind.
to box you up again.
Yes, exactly right. I
Yeah.
had my older brother ask me, "What do you believe in this? What do you believe?" I go, "I don't know."
Mm-hmm.
Still learning, and it drove him crazy
Mm.
because he couldn't put me in a box. And he's like, "That's not an answer." I go, "Yes, it is. It's a very real and honest answer."
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
I should,
Yeah.
maybe I should have asked. Well, I guess I don't even need to ask. I didn't need to ask you that question, I guess, because it's off of your actions. You are a kind man, you're gentle, you are empowered, you're strong, you are here to serve others. So it's like you're leading in the positive, in my opinion, spiritually driven way. So that should be enough answer. I was just curious because I went through my own deconstruction
Sure.
phase, and this is what I got to. So I was curious where you have ended up at. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I don't mind those questions. I'm pretty much an open book. So, well, all right. We're getting about 45 minutes in. That's usually a pretty
Wow.
good, but I could literally talk to you all day. So, you know, I just adore you and what you're doing.
Yeah.
And
Thank you
for
so
anybody
much.
that is not following her, you need to follow this lady. She is honest. She is humble. She is trying to help you to become empowered and to love yourself, and to see yourself differently. And so I just I can't emphasize enough that she is someone you need to follow. So thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you. Hey, Johnny, by the way. And thank you. I receive you and I appreciate you, and I exude the same feelings back to you. So grateful that there are masculine beings like you. You're doing wonderful work, and I'm just glad to know you. So I look forward to keeping in touch. I'll send you some videos from Jordan Peterson to check out because
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I appreciate you. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.